It's like a ticking clock. UFC 300 main event. Nobody knows. We're like 2 months out, and nobody knows. It should have been announced already. Now, what normally happens is on pay-per-view week, which is next week. So we're looking at probably Tuesday, or maybe during the pay-per-view event on Saturday night. We're going to get a main event. There's no way this week goes by and we don't get a main event. It's just not going to happen. And time's running out as far as the options, right? What are the options? The only two options to me left are Khamzat, which I know is not going to happen, and Alex Pereira. Pereira versus Aspinall for the heavyweight interim belt. It seems unlikely, but that seems like the only option right now. The only option is Pereira versus Aspinall in the heavyweight division. There's no other option. Adesanya's not fighting because Duplessis isn't fighting, and he's not going to take a chance. Khamzat isn't fighting because you just know he isn't. It's like the UFC is making this guy wait forever. Connor's not fighting. And all the names I'm mentioning are names that could fill up at a ticket, and people will buy the pay-per-view and tune in because 300's already loaded. Any one of those 4 or 5 names, Duplessis, Adesanya, Khamzat, Pereira, and maybe 1 or 2 others, are the only ones that can fill that void. But the UFC is running out of time, man. And the more interesting thing here is, I'm asking you, do you believe the UFC already knows who the main event is? Or do you think they're behind the scenes scrambling right now? I'm going to lean, well, it's hard to say either one, because Duplessis coming out saying that he's not fighting would lead me to believe that the UFC has already gone in a different direction. Like, why would you say, hey, I'm not fighting? Unless you're trying to get more money from the UFC, right? If Duplessis is going to put the title on the line at UFC 300 after just going to battle with Strickland for 5 rounds, and that was a battle. That wasn't just like an easy fight. That was a battle. So if he's coming back in 3 months, on 3 months rest, just shy of 3 months really, then he's going to need some bread. And maybe that's why he's saying something. So there's all these possibilities, but there's really not that many possibilities. It's Duplessis and Adesanya. It's Khamzat versus anybody. And Pereira versus Aspinall. And Pereira versus Aspinall is the most likely, even though I think it's improbable still, it's the most likely fight. Because there's no one in the light heavyweight division right now that's going to get you excited, that's eligible and ready to go. I mean, Rakic hasn't returned from the injury yet. He's got to fight Yuri. Jamal Hill's not ready to return. So there's no guys in the light heavyweight division that would get you excited. And I think if Pereira is going to take a fight on, 2 months notice now, we're 2 months away from UFC 300. If he's going to take a fight on short notice, and it is short notice, it's 2 months, then the bottom line is he's going to have to get some bread, and he's going to have a fight that if he loses, is kind of like, he doesn't really, what does he really lose, right? That's what would happen if you fought Duplessis or Aspinall. It's like if you lose, then what do you really lose? What do you really lose? He's not going to fight on short notice for his own belt, because then if you lose, he actually loses something. He's got to fight for something where he doesn't lose anything. And I think that's why it's the most likely main event that we had before. That's the best option right now. If they come out after all this time and they're like, we have a huge announcement, Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad in the main event at UFC 300, people are going to lose their minds in a negative way. I don't mean lose their minds like with excitement. I mean, people are going to be like, are you serious? Because the card is stacked. I mean, I said a month ago it wasn't, but now, like with the fights that they've added, like, and then you got Cejudo and Figueiredo, I think, at the starting the night out. And then you got Bo Nickel to come. You got Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison, which is going to be ridiculous. I mean, You got a lot of people on this card that are big time fighters. Kenneth Bruner weighing in. We see what Bruner's got to say. This is a fight to make for 300 main event. Oh, Khamzat versus Izzy, yeah. Yeah, but see, the thing is I don't think Izzy, if you're Izzy, why do you take that chance? You already got a guaranteed fight for the title, right? Why take a chance and lose? Oh, good. Stay down. Why are you going to take a fight and potentially lose to Khamzat? It's just too much risk. But listen, as a Khamzat fan, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him fight anybody right now. It doesn't have to be for the title. Because I knew the UFC wasn't giving him a title shot, even when everyone was like, oh man, if Khamzat wins, he gets a title shot. No, Khamzat's not getting a title shot with the win over Usman. Anybody who thought that was just misled. Dana White said it was a title eliminator. Well, hell, every fight's a title eliminator. So Khamzat got duped. They couldn't afford to lose Khamzat on that card. They had to tell him something. So what do we tell Khamzat? Hey, if you win, you're fighting for the title, man. It's a title eliminator. They didn't mention that he's got to win 2 or 3 other fights before he gets a title shot, right? You got to listen to the words closely. But going back, I would say right now, I would lean towards the UFC scrambling right now to try to find a main event. That's what I would lean towards. I don't think it's set in stone. I think there's 1 or 2 guys. Let's just say they got a matchup with Pereira and Aspinall and Duplessis and Adesanya. And there's one guy in both of those situations. It's like, I need more money. Oh, another few weeks has went by. Now the UFC's desperate. I'm gonna need some more money. And the UFC typically doesn't like to pay out the extra money. They just want to go by the contracts. But the bottom line is this main event warrants someone getting a bigger payday than their contract says. So nobody's taking this fight in the main event and with just their normal contract pay and a few pay-per-view points or whatever. No. If Pereira's going to fight, he's going to need some money. If Aspinall's going to fight on short notice, he's going to need some money. If Duplessis is coming back on way less than 3 months notice after a 5-round battle, he's going to need some money. So I would lean towards the UFC is scrambling right now and trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do. I mean, the UFC is scrambling, and this is why they haven't announced it yet. If they had the fight locked in, there's no reason not to announce it. I mean, what are you waiting for? I mean, really? Because you're trying to build the momentum towards it, you know, you're trying to hold out and get people talking and all this. I mean, okay, I guess I can see that angle, but I don't think that's what's going on. I believe what's going on is the UFC is in full panic mode right now because they got to have a big-time fight. They just got it. I hear your Traveler says nice dog. Yeah, man. That's my girl, man. Cece. Right? After Chris Cross, baby. That's Cece right there. She don't give me a minute to breathe, man. If I'm sitting down, she's all over me. You know? And I love the color orange. It's a pretty dog. Yes. But yeah, the UFC's in full scramble mode right now, man. Please believe it. Hey, listen, while y'all are watching, hit that subscribe button for me. Make sure you subscribe, because we're talking UFC all day, every day. Big card tomorrow. Elon Musk in attendance. Joe Piper's about to whoop that behind. We're about to be 4-0 on the year. I got to focus on the positives, because 20-15 with the overall record, that's not too great. So I got to focus on the positive right now and say, hey, Joe Piper's getting that dub tomorrow. And it's a 14-fight freaking super card tomorrow. And I know the casuals are like, they're waiting for Volkanovski to occur. They're not even watching tomorrow, you know. But the diehards, like me and you, we are ecstatic about the card tomorrow. 14 fights. That means I can go make some popcorn, get a soda, whatever, miss a fight, and I still got 13 others to watch. I mean, it's crazy, man. And this is only the second week of like a 10 to 12 week stretch. So the UFC is going hard in the paint right now. big super card, man. And then next week, 298 it's okay. But you got a couple of good fights up there. I like the Ian Gary, Jeff Neal matchup. I really like that one. And of course, Volkanovski fighting Pereira. That fight right there has a lot of big implications. A lot of big implications for Volkanovski. Forget Pereira. Coming off the KO, he's going to be a little jittery. He's going to be thinking about it. And if he drops the title, if he loses the title here and goes down, he probably never recovers. So, you know, we picked Volkanovski to win, and I got to really go with him next week, man. I got to go hard in the paint for Volkanovski, and especially if we get this 4-0 with Joe Pyfer, who's no guaranteed to win. I'll tell you that right now, because Jack Hermanson is still for real. But if we get Joe Pyfer and we got a chance to go 5-0 next week to kick off the year, we'll take it. Because guess what? In the last 3 months of we had a great record last year. 28-14 in the main event? But we struggled down the stretch those last 3 months. We were probably 500. So if we can come at it 5-0 and get a little cushion on the year, we're going to take that every time. We'll take that every time. But listen, I just want to get in here and catch y'all up. You know, I need to know if the UFC's in full panic mode, which I think they are, but who knows? We were saying nobody even knew who DDP was until he beat Darren Till. We need to get off people want to see DDP. Nobody heard of him a year and a half ago. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you're right? Like, if you go back, if you just look in your mind a year and a half ago, did I know who Dricus du Plessis was? Probably not. Right? Then he has some big wins, and then it's like, okay, he's getting the nose surgery, and then he comes back and gets a big win, then wins the title, and he looks like a different fighter. I mean, and then he beat Sean Strickland. A lot of people didn't see that coming, and a lot of people still don't believe he won the fight because you're in. I told you he was going to win before the fight happened, because we're in our minds can't believe that du Plessis is that good. Now, when I say that good, I think Khamzat mops the floor with him, but he's that good in terms of he's able to capture the belt. He came up at the right time. Make no mistake about it. Appreciate all you do. Thank you. It's nice to say hello in real time. Yeah, man. So, Bruner, what happened was, and I don't know if you saw the live stream the other day, but we were doing these remixes, 5-second remix on UFC clips, other clips. It's a feature that YouTube added. You can do a short 5 seconds clip of someone else's video if they allow you, and then do your commentary after. So we were getting major views on that. Then I get a copyright strike. And I write YouTube and I say, what's going on here? I'm only using the feature that you made available, and the UFC made available for me to remix the clip. Then I get a copyright. They're like, oh, we're sorry that you feel you're so upset. We'll look into it, At the end of the day, they're going to leave the copyright. And I had to go and delete a bunch of videos and stop doing those. So now it's time to get back to the live stream. And sometimes you just need some direction. And in this situation, I realized we need to get back and do more live streams. They're easy to do. I mean, compared to the podcast takes me 20, 30 minutes to set up, and then I got to looking up and getting information, try to get organized. I'm going to try to simplify that too, because it's just taking too long. With this live stream, boom, we just hit record and let's go. And it's easy to talk. So we're gonna be doing more of these. Yeah, I'm glad to be here in real time too. It's what we need to be doing. Best way to get subscribers and build the platform and things like that. And of course, you know, I just want to build the platform with others like you that love the UFC and want to see the right things being done here. We know Khamzat is not being done right. Conor McGregor is not being done right. And I know everyone's got different feelings about him and probably Khamzat right now. But these two guys are not being done right, man. They're just being held on the sidelines. And then while they're held on the sidelines, the average fan really just believes like McGregor don't want to fight. Like, oh, he's got enough money, he don't really want to fight, he's dodging. McGregor would have fought like the man wants to fight, dude. It's not just like, just because he's got money, he don't still have that instinct inside of him that wants him. I mean, it don't matter if you got $10 billion, like you don't get that same rush as you do when you go in there and beat Donald Cerrone in 40 seconds. That's what McGregor wants to do. He wants to get in there and have that rush and get the win and jump on top of the octagon and feel the crowd. Money can't buy that. You might get some money for doing it, but money can't buy that. And so therefore, McGregor and you just watch a documentary on Netflix and it'll tell you the truth. Like, you see behind the scenes, like, he wants to fight. And I say, let the man fight. It doesn't need to be Michael Chandler. Let the man fight. Let Khamzat fight. Let McGregor eat. Let Khamzat eat. Let the boys get down. Because I would love to see McGregor smash somebody so I can get him back on the dude list. Because y'all were hammering me for a year and a half. Like, why is McGregor up in the top 5? Like, man hasn't fought in 2 years. Well, he was injured. Hurt his leg. I still think if that fight goes on and nothing happens to McGregor there, I still think he beats Poirier. He was looking much better in the first round. So, it is what it is, man. But listen, we got to wrap this thing up. We got a big basketball game tonight. Boys won the last game. We got to try to get this W tonight. And I'll report back and let you know what happened. But for now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Hope y'all have a great day. God bless. As always, peace.